My name is Jenny Meissner. I am in my 5th year teaching at a Title I school in Northern California. What is a Title I school? A Title I school is a school that is highly concentrated with low-income students, allowing them to receive supplemental funds to better support teachers in meeting the educational goals of each student. I am a 5th grade teacher. I know, 5th grade can be a fun time. Individuality, drama, hormones. The job comes with some major perks. Throughout my short 5 years in my own classroom, I have been surprised at how much time I spend addressing behavior. Throughout my credential program, I was trained to implement positive behavior, intervention, and supports, better known as PBIS. I would establish routines, use 4-to-1 positive corrections, behavior-specific praise, develop a safe and nurturing environment, and I noticed that I would even refer to my students as my friends, working to build that positive relationship. These are all strategies that I use now in my 5th grade classroom. Well, except maybe the my friends part. I have come to the realization that we are not exactly friends. I found myself in a cycle of dealing with some behaviors and the same struggles. So I joined my school's PBIS committee almost 2 years ago to better understand the PBIS expectations at my site. I am lucky to have a number of girlfriends who teach at the same grade level in a variety of school environments. Affluent communities, low-income environments, both rural and urban. Informally, we compare behavior between the two, and in doing so, you realize that it's really like comparing apples with broccoli. I started asking myself why that is. Title I sites have so much more funding for interventions and supports than other schools. Poverty has long been linked to academic achievement. According to the Child Fund International, more than 1 in 5 children in the United States are living in poverty. 6.8 million children, or about 1 in 11 of all children in the US, live at 50% below the federal poverty line. 30% of children raised in poverty do not finish high school. Children who grow up in these impoverished communities complete fewer years of schooling and earn much lower income than people who did not grow up poor. Beyond these statistics, poverty has an effect on cognitive development. According to an article published by Brandy Thomas from Duke Center for Child and Family Public Policy, poverty comes with a plethora of stressors, such as unsupportive parenting, poor nutrition, poor education, high mobility, trauma, homelessness, violence, and income. Children living in poverty are constantly being exposed to these stressors. One study by Dr. Seth Pollack, a psychology professor at University of Wisconsin-Madison, 823 brain scans of urban and rural children ages 4 to 17. Dr. Seth Pollack believes poverty affects children's brains in ways that are similar to the effects of abuse. The brain scans from this study depict high levels of cortisol, which is the common denominator for cognitive effects for both abuse and poverty. Similar studies have concluded an exposure of poverty hinders the development of the amygdala and hippocampus in the brain. The amygdala and the hippocampus are sensitive regions of the brain that process emotion and regulate stress. So there it is. Many of my high flyers, my Title I students, are actually at a neurological disadvantage. Before we can provide intervention for grade level learning, we need to address the supports needed to better develop these regions of our students' brain. It is my goal to bring this information to my PBIS committee and discuss what our Title I students need when it comes to behavior management and how we can support their social emotional learning and the development of the whole child. I have an ability to notice problems in systems, and I often find myself asking tough questions of leadership to determine what could be better and what we could change. Coming in with this different viewpoint, I often struggle with feeling self-assured. Although I portray confidence, I struggle with feelings of doubt. It can be hard for me to share my thinking with others if I feel it is oppositional to a majority view. Rather than focusing on judgment, I want to come from a place where the focus is on understanding. I want to develop my integrity as a leader and be honest and transparent about who I am and what I can bring to the discussion of behavior and classroom management. Janelle Cox, an educational writer, describes 21st century teachers as being aware of the ever-changing trends in technology and also in tune with what the future may bring to education. 21st century practitioners are more than technologically savvy. According to Susanna Palmer, there is no need to teach a one-size-fits-all content education. A 21st century teacher provides students with personalized instruction that offers choice and supports their needs for engagement. Teachers of 2018 should model lifelong learning for their students, looking towards the future, collaborating with colleagues, and adapting to new strategies and standards that come along. Teachers are constantly going to professional developments and learning from what people outside of the classroom think teachers need to be doing inside of the classroom. The Center for Teaching Quality describes teacher leadership as a critical component of effective teaching and school success. Accomplished teachers have the most intimate knowledge of both the content they must teach students and the context of the community that they are serving. Providing opportunities for teachers to serve as instructional leaders within their school allows them to bring their unique knowledge to meeting students' needs, and it can be helpful in tailoring and streamlining services to students and families in high-need schools, as well as developing policies that can sustain them over time. In Dr. Ann Lieberman's TED Talk, she mentioned how, as teachers, we talk about our jobs and our students, and we vent, but we end up alone in our classrooms. 21st century practitioners need to go out of their way to create time to collaborate with colleagues. In my opinion, I do not see a difference between a teacher and a 21st century practitioner leader. A teacher is a leader in their own classroom, as students follow their lead throughout the day. For both roles, collaboration is key. Both a teacher and an instructional leader need to be open to the ideas and perspectives of others, understanding that ideas are built with input. In addition to collaboration, I believe both positions need to be intelligent and determined. Teachers and leaders need to be well informed and learn as much as possible. They also need to be determined and show dominance at times. The goal is to develop change and better a problem. In order for transformational leadership to be successful, a teacher leader must first be intelligent and confident. As Northouse says, intelligent leaders are well informed, and they do not second guess themselves, but rather move forward with a clear vision. These two characteristics effectively shape the group, as they allow both the leader and the followers to feel positive about the work they are doing and their ability to succeed. Transformational leadership is about engaging people's strengths to generate alternate solutions to the problem, while also providing the group with autonomy. Behaviorally, attitudes about the problem and the solution will begin to change as the group finds alternatives to better address the problem. And cognitively, I believe all teams of leaders and followers can be successful and productive as long as communication is clear, ideas are respected, and individuals feel a sense of worth throughout the collaboration process. The plan I would like to propose is called the Title I BIS Committee. BIS standing for Behavior Intervention Support. My plan is to collaborate with my current PBIS team to develop new, realistic behavior expectations and strategies for all stakeholders involved in our PBIS community, with our specific population's needs in mind. As previously mentioned, the Title I student population is primarily from low-income families. This population often experiences constant stresses that can be traumatic during their developmental years, affecting their behavior. Students from low SES backgrounds may not have enough food to eat or a stable place to live, and they may even be homeless. The lack of safe and predictable environment can have a serious impact on the overall physical and emotional health of a child as he or she grows up. These and other outside factors affect academic and cognitive performance in school, as well as emotional engagement and in-school behavior. My goal on this team is to be an effective practitioner instructional leader, which starts with establishing a constructive climate. Providing structure that colleagues can count on during meetings, establishing norms to serve as a roadmap for the group expectations, and building cohesiveness so all members can feel comfortable expressing their opinions and accepting feedback from others. In addition, I would like to understand the strengths, desires, skills, and needs of all stakeholders. With open communication and dialogue, I would hope that I could better understand the needs and desires of my colleagues on this team and at my site. Within the first couple months, my goal is to start the committee by first looking at the Swiss behavior data. As a team, we will democratically reflect on the patterns of behavior and possible motivations for the behavior. Then, we should develop a survey for the entire staff to take. This will develop buy-in from others outside of the committee and determine perceptions and barriers of implementation. From there, we should brainstorm a variety of intervention options and develop 2 to 3 programs that 2 to 3 teachers on the team could pilot in their own classrooms. This will help us determine that there is more than one way to deal with the behaviors that are present: rewards-based, intrinsically based, and punishment consequence-based. This will allow us to collect data and observational information to better move forward. As 21st century teachers, we know how important it is to differentiate instruction in the classroom. As we know, same does not translate to equal. I believe this includes differentiation of behavior instruction and classroom management. I hope you will join me in this initiative to ensure our students get what they need to develop and grow successfully. Thank you. Upon reflection, I believe that every individual has the potential and skills needed to lead others, and they will probably have the opportunity to do so at some point in their lifetime. I agree with Northouse and his definition of leadership as a relationship. Leadership is an influence process. I think it takes one leader type individual to influence other follower type individuals in order to achieve a common goal. In my opinion, leaders develop other leaders. Leaders should share their skills with others. If a leader wants to be followed and share their skills and knowledge with other people, then they need to be following their own direction and stay their own course as well. As Sanborn says, we cannot invite people to a party that we are not having. Throughout this process, I felt challenged to share my opinions with my PBIS team, as I felt like my views sometimes went against the grain. I aimed to develop, assuming others come from a place of understanding rather than judgment. After discussing this initiative with my administration and my colleagues, I felt heard, and my colleagues were actually impressed with my vision for PBIS at our Title I school. One thing that surprised me was the importance of feedback. After receiving in-depth quality feedback, I was inspired to continue and keep doing my best. As a leader and teacher, I have also been inspired to provide quality feedback to my followers and my students. I have noticed transformational change within my domain of being ABCs. Effectively, I am positively surprised with how my self-assuredness and confidence grew over the course of developing this action plan. I have so much pride in not only my work, but my leadership potential as well. Cognitively, I believe all teams of leaders and followers can be successful and productive as long as communication is clear, ideas are respected, and the individuals feel a sense of worth throughout the collaboration process. Moving forward in my career as an educational leader, I feel I will foster collaborative relationships by establishing a constructive climate where success can flourish. And behaviorally, I feel my attitude about PBIS and my PBIS committee has changed. I realize there are currently no norms established for our meetings to run smoothly. I have often felt these meetings have stalled in inaction as we discuss behavior and classroom management with what feels like judgment and frustration, as conversation about behavior tends to feel personal. With this new learning and an understanding of how to recognize the skills and qualities of all members, I would take a more diplomatic approach to these conversations. Thank you.